here. Come on in, everybody. Say hello to Marnie. Hello, Marnie.
Hello, Ronan. Hello, everybody.
So we're back on the think tank, and it's Tuesday, I think. It is Tuesday, Marnie, right?
It is.
It is Tuesday, yeah. You lose track of the days, you know. We were just talking before we came on live for a couple of minutes, and we're talking about the think tank is approaching its 7th month old. So it's sort of, it doesn't feel like that, though. Does it feel like that to you, Marnie?
No, it really doesn't. No, it's felt quicker than I think it probably should have felt.
Because you've been there since the very beginning. So you were one of the first people to put up their hand and say, I want to help in any way I can, help our community, help every photographer out there, you know, to survive and get going again with their business and then thrive again. And I know, you know, you love this industry, right? Just tell us a little bit before we get into why you love the industry. Let's just talk about how you got involved in this wonderful industry of ours.
I'm one of those, the moms with the cameras, right? Do you guys have that kind of stereotype in Ireland? So I had a camera. I was taking pictures of my kids, and a friend of mine, I was in an oil painting class, and a friend of mine saw what I was posting on Facebook, and she said, you know, my grandson, I would love to have some pictures of him. Would you come do this? And so I said, oh, sure. I said, you know, I'm not a professional, right? And she's like, oh, yeah, just come take some pictures. And I finished that session, and I remember putting things back into my car and thinking, you know, I don't know what I'm doing with myself right now. I had quit I used to be in the entertainment industry. I was an actress and a director. And I said, you know, I don't know what I'm gonna do with myself. I had kids, I quit that, I let it go. I thought, this might be the thing. Like, this could actually be the thing that I wanna do with myself. And so I spent the rest of, that was in 2009. I spent the rest of that year kind of stumbling my way through figuring out how to run a business. And in 2010, we decided to commit to saying, yeah, this is going to be a legit business. We're really going to do this. And what was supposed to start out as a part-time job for me ended up being full-time really, really quickly. And we just kind of gone from there. And PPA, Professional Photographer Association, has been there with me. That was my very first resource that I went to. I don't know how in the world, this is just me, I don't know how in the world anybody is running a photography business without being a part of PPA and taking advantage of all their resources. Because seriously, for me, their education and just being available for me to go, hi, I have a really stupid question. And, you know, for, you know, Angela Kirkian's their education director, I remember talking with her directly one time about what to do with digital files for my weddings. And she gave me some ideas and saved our wedding side of our business. So they've just been super, super helpful. And I can't help, but now that where I am, I can't help but want to give back and try to help other people the way that so many other photographers have helped me. It would be super selfish not to. So yeah, that's kind of where I am.
And Angela is amazing. Like she's director of education at PPA. I know Angela for a couple of years now too, because I'm only new in America, as you know, been in Europe for a long time, as you can tell by my wrinkles. But newish to the USA. Where Angela has been amazing, and PPA have done a great job, and the board of directors and the management team there. They've just been amazing. I'm really looking forward to imaging, by the way. Are you?
I am. I'm so excited for it. We're pivoting, so we're not going to be in person, and we'll be, you know, I'm getting ready to tape my class on Sunday. So I'm going from, we were talking earlier, I said I was super ready to, you know, deliver this thing to a couple thousand people, if that's what it was. But now that it's going to be one-on-one to a camera, I'm a little bit like, okay, can I do this? I can do this. It's going to be a learning experience. And I think that's always a good thing. So we're looking at it from that. How about you? Are you excited about your class?
I am, yeah. It's going to be interesting. This is my first pre-con to do. So I think I'm on this Saturday, and it's 3 hours. So, and I think we're going to have to do it live. So I think they're recording some stuff and not. I know they're still working it out, because they're working out exactly what they're going to do. And I think we've been meeting on Friday, right, with Angela and all the other speakers to try and figure out what they want us to do.
Exactly. That's going to be really helpful. So yeah, they've been so good about getting us information as they go along, but they haven't had it. So they're really, I can't imagine her job right now, all the things that she's having to learn and all of the pieces they're having to put into place. Because I know that, I mean, it's been such a well-oiled machine for so many years to have to completely reinvent it. That's just new levels of stress. I can't even imagine. But they seem to be handling it just perfectly fine and they're excited. So that, you know, I can't help but be excited too.
And that's half the attitude in any business, right? It's the mindset, it's the attitude. It's say, yes, we can do this thing, you know?
Exactly. Because the minute you go negative, it affects every single thing around you. I mean, everything. I always tell the story. There was a local photographer here who, when digital started to take over, on all these new photographers came in, he was just not, he didn't deal well with it at all. You look at somebody like Mary Fisk Taylor and Jamie Hayes and the way that they dealt with that, and they saw the challenge, they figured out what they needed to do to kind of overcome that new challenge, and their studio was thriving. This guy didn't do that. He got really negative, really defensive, offensive. He would attack other photographers, just really, really negative. And he asked me to come to his studio to watch him photograph somebody for something. He wanted to try to sell us a product line that he had. And I remember sitting there, and he was with this girl. She was like a high school junior or senior, and he's photographing her. And the whole time, I don't think he knew he did it. He was grumbling about things and how photographers today don't know how to light, and they don't know this, all these things. It was so crazy. And he did not engage with this girl at all. I'm sure he made some beautiful pictures of her. But she was not going to come back to him. I mean, she did not have a good, warm, fuzzy experience with him at all. The only reason I know that this isn't the way he's been running his business forever is because he photographed me back 25 years ago, and it was so much fun. It was a completely different person. And I think it's just such a good example of the way that negativity just kind of kills our business and our joy in the business. Because you've got to have that if you're going to stick this out for the long haul. We have to love what we're doing. And when we let that negativity stuff come in, it ruins everything.
Absolutely. And I didn't turn off my phone. I apologize. There we go. Go to sleep, phone. Sorry, Marnie. Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. It's all about the mindset, isn't it? And if the mindset's not right, the whole thing is just going to go pear-shaped. And your clients, you know, the way the teachers who teach you how to interact on the phone and stuff, and they tell you to smile, because even though people can't see you, they can actually sense that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Your clients know, they pick up on it. They sense that, you know, if it's just that you're worried about paying the bills or stressed out that you're not getting enough clients, like you start coming off as this desperate human being. I use that used car salesman analogy, like when you pull up into into the car lot and this guy attacks you from out of nowhere, and he's perfectly nice, but you can just tell that he's desperate for that sale, and it puts you off. You want to leave, or I do anyway. That kind of thing, you know, makes me a little bit, and you know, maybe the clients stick with you through the sale, but they're not coming back. If they're feeling those negative vibes, they're not coming back, and that's good grief. That's a huge piece of marketing. It's so much easier to get clients to come back than it is to try to find new ones. So yeah, the positive attitude I think helps a lot.
So tell us then, because you're in Elizabethtown, right, in Kentucky. Have I pronounced that right?
Yes, yeah.
And is that linked back to Queen Elizabeth in any way, or is that how the town got its name? Or
I think that there was someone back in the town history, and her name was Elizabeth. I think it came from there. So I'm sure that there are people who claim all kinds of things. It's that kind of an area.
Okay.
It's a good folklore kind of area. Stories are a big deal. So, but it's a small town. It's not a big town by any stretch of the imagination.
Okay, so you're on Main Street, right, or the equivalent of Main Street?
Yeah,
right?
we're kind of there's a little historic. I'm looking at my window here. We're down just off the historic town square, so the courthouse is in the middle, and all the 1800s buildings are all surrounding it, and we're in one of those buildings. So that's us. Yeah.
Okay, and your husband Bill, is he involved in the business?
He is. He photographs all of my weddings with me. He does some of our seniors and commercial work and that sort of thing. So he does. This is all we do. This is the thing that feeds our family and keeps this roof over our heads.
And you've a son just started university, so that's expensive too.
Oh yeah, that's terrifying. But yeah, we've got one in college. I told him, I'm like, if you could get some scholarships, that would be fabulous because we'd like to retire someday. So he did a good job. So we've got that. But yeah, that's expensive. And we've got another one who's just 3 years behind him. And she's a smart cookie too. So she's going to want to she actually really likes the school he's going to. He's going to an art school. So I have a feeling we're going to have 2 of them in an out-of-state art college. So, and here, out-of-state means it's going to be more expensive. So that's kind of fun. So there's a lot going on. There's a lot riding on this for us because we don't have an out. There's nothing else to fall back on. Bill used to be in the software industry, and he left that to be in part of this in the studio full time. And so that's it. Like this is this is how we do all of that. So without it, we're sunk. Is basically what I'm saying.
So I know in imaging that your topic is about, how to run a business with no studio even, and how to do that. I know we can't delve too deep into that because we want to keep that, as a special surprise when you're live at imaging. But can you just give us an overview of what that's about and, your experiences that is informing what you're going to teach us all at imaging?
Sure. Yeah. So we started, like I said, I started the studio in our house. And after about a couple of years, I realized that the way that I was doing things was not the right way. Like I wasn't just giving away digital files. I did know print was important from the very beginning. So I did have that piece correct, but I wasn't serving our clients the way that I could be serving them. And so we decided, okay, we're going to start doing ordering appointments with our clients and consultations with our clients and really start to serve them well. So when we did that, I took over this teeny tiny little spot in our home. And in this place where you can see literally my entire downstairs except for the bathroom, everything else is all right there for you to see from this little studio space. That was where we developed our studio. We developed relationships with corporate clients that spend routinely, $10,000, $15,000 a year with us in that space. I used to photograph doctors. They would come in to get their headshots made, and I literally had to go and climb up our steps to take their pictures. And we found ways to make that still be professional, so that after we're doing that, they're coming back to us to photograph their families. So if I can take me, I am nothing, I will be the first one to say, I am nothing special. I'm not God's gift to photography. I am not God's gift to business education. It's just me. And I've been really lucky to listen to the right people, I think. But I was able to take those things that I had learned and apply them to my studio and to be able to say, look, if I can do this here, anybody can do this. So that's really a big part of what we talk about kind of in that class is how do we look at our studios, see the challenges that home studios face, because home studios do have a specific set of challenges that retail locations don't have. We look at those challenges. We don't get negative about it, just like we were saying. We don't get negative and get mired down by all that. Instead, we come up with plans. We come up with a solution for how we're going to overcome each one of those challenges until we find the right one. So that's really kind of how we look at that class. Just what are those challenges? How can we overcome them? And yeah, it's that simple.
I can't wait. I'm really looking forward to it.
Thanks. I'm excited about it.
Because I think, where did we first meet? Was it at Sync?
I think so. Is that right? Oh, I might have actually met you at Imaging, because I think I met you at the 3XM booth at Imaging. Okay. Because everybody had been telling me you have to go meet Ronan over at the 3XM booth at Imaging. And you
have to come and see the folio box. Nothing to do with me. I'm just a mad Irishman in a cap trying to persuade
The
people that
folio box was gorgeous too.
way better than me, way better than me. But right, so I want to go back to, so you're such a positive person, right? And you can see that. You can see the energy and you can see the excitement, and I can see how your clients, want to come back to you over and over and over again. But you're also really clever on the marketing, I think. I think that because I've been spying on you. I think I told you that before we came on. So, you were heavily involved in the think tank in the beginning, and then you were coming up with community projects that we talk about in a minute. And then I kept watching you, and you didn't just stop. You continue that. Can you just share with people, first of all, the initial community projects, and then we'll move through some of them, and then maybe explain what you think that's done for your brand and your business and your locality. And then maybe we can talk about what's happened then with, when people are coming back into the studio and what's happening and stuff like that. Is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely. So
Okay.
You'll keep me on track if I go off. So I think that I'll start by saying, I believe fully that marketing is a long-term game. I know you had a speaker a couple of weeks ago that was on and was talking about marketing being the short game. And I do think that, especially right now, we do have to do some short-term marketing. That's important. But for longevity of business, like, again, our eggs are all in this basket. That's it. I need to be here in another 10, 15 years. So I'm not just marketing for this fall. I'm marketing for fall of 2025. And I think that's important. So when the pandemic started and we all got locked down, the first thing that came to me was I have a sister-in-law who has 4 kids. They are all between the ages of, I'm trying to think what they are right now, like 6 and 12. So they are just right there. And she was losing her mind. She was trying to find ways to, help, because she's doing homeschool for all of them. And so she's trying to make sure that everybody's lining up with their teachers and getting all their work done. And, she's trying to get these guys to be entertained while she's working with these 2. And so we started to try to kind of come up with ways that maybe we could help people like her, because I couldn't go over there and help her with the kids. But I could read them stories over social media. So I started recording, doing story time, we called it. And so story time was basically me reading a chapter. I first started out with little like kids books, and then we moved to chapter books. And so I'd read a chapter of a book a day, and we put it up on Facebook. And it was something that my clients and friends were all saying, oh my gosh, thank you, because seriously, this gave me 20 minutes to go get the dishes done or whatever it was that they needed to do, or just go like take a nap. So that was just a way for me to kind of help folks. I did it in my studio. So they, they're seeing, that, but that was it. There were no strings attached. We did end up, I think after you and I talked, we did end up putting on a couple of the books have, good grief, little questions. So like little end of the book reviews that they could do. And if they did the review, then they could get a gift certificate to come into the studio. But that was it. It was all very low key. It was just us doing, kind of helping out. We also did, go ahead.
Before, can we just focus on that just for a little second? I want to deep dive in a little bit further. So, because this is stuff you can do anytime, right? This is just, and you can take this framework and adapt it to so many things. So I just want to just talk about the deliverable and how you did that. So did you pre-record then the reading of the chapters in the book?
Yes. So I would usually, this sounds really silly, but I would come downstairs, leave my family upstairs, because we live in our building. And it would be just me and my computer. It was super low tech. I just used the webcam on my computer. I sat down with my books. We made sure that we had books that were didn't have any copyright issues with anything. And I would just sit and I would, record a chapter. I kind of review the chapter before and then read and then, give them the, hey, we'll see you tomorrow. I would come over to my desk. I would change sweaters and then go back over and record the next days. So I'd record 3 or 4 of them and have them in queue. And then I would go into Facebook, and it's really easy to have Facebook automate showing those videos. So I could get, 3 or 4 days worth done all there in just, an hour or so, and then have it on Facebook and ready to go, and I didn't have to do anything else.
Okay, so did you do that in a group or on your Facebook page?
I did that on my Facebook page. I starting a Facebook group is one of those things I have not done yet, and I need to, but I know that I don't have the time to maintain it right now like I want to. So it's on my list. So when I figure out how to work that into everything else, then we'll do it. Because I don't want to start it and do it halfway.
And have you continued that, or was that just for the lockdown period?
The story time continued a little bit past the lockdown period. So I kept it going for another month or so. And then once the studio life started picking back up, I did let it go. I do think that we're going to try to pick it back up again, just because it was fun and I had a good time doing it. So we'll probably just do like once a week and do story time once a week.
So that's a couple of months ago now, right? So yeah. What sort of feedback have you had since?
It's been so much fun. I'm out now that we're out a little bit more now. So I'm out at, the grocery store and that sort of thing. Actually, I guess I'm with clients and I'm at the grocery store. That's really basically it. Occasionally we get to Target. But I'll run into people and they'll say, oh my gosh, I absolutely love your story time. And these are people who I didn't expect, these are like, my friends' parents and that sort of thing that are like, oh, I've just enjoyed that so much. But so it wasn't even the audience that we really thought we'd be connecting with sometimes. But it's been fun to be out and about and see people who've enjoyed that.
Very good. I thought it was absolutely amazing. And it's a bit like, have you guys got X Factor? Have you got that in America? X Factor?
I don't know.
Simon Cowell, was it called something else?
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about. I didn't watch that, but yeah, I know what you're talking about.
But basically, like, he's become a multi-millionaire with X Factor, and really all he's done is he's taken a talent contest or a singing contest and just put it online and involved the audience to have a vote. And, but there's nothing new in it. There's been talent contests going on since the year dot, right?
Oh my gosh.
But
that's awesome.
Often we try to be nearly too creative. I don't know if that's because of who we are and that's our industry and stuff. But quite often it's just having a look at something, which you did there, something that is already there and adapting it to the scenario and the situation.
Absolutely. And taking something that I knew that I would enjoy doing too. I mean, it's not like, if your worst nightmare is sitting down and reading children's books, then man, oh man, do not do story time. But yeah, it's something that was just an easy thing that I could do simply. And I knew that my background's in theater, so I knew I could, I could make voices and I can do that sort of thing and have fun with it. And it'll be at least be entertaining. So yeah, I think that's totally right. That there are things that it doesn't have to be groundbreaking. Most of the things that I've done marketing wise are things that other friends have talked about. Oh yeah, I did this over here. And like, oh, that's a fabulous idea. Nobody here knows that, somebody did it in, California or Virginia or wherever. So they don't care. They're just excited to get to be a part of it. So yeah, I think that's absolutely right.
Exactly, because we're community-based businesses, right?
Right.
But it's also important though too, isn't it, to take off our blinkers and not be looking at just our business. Have a look at what other businesses are doing and see, how can I adapt that into my marketing?
Yeah, absolutely. We were looking at here, just as far as the other things that we managed to end up doing, we were looking at when teachers were getting ready to go back to classrooms. And there are all kinds of folks around here who are doing like donating PPE supplies and, trying to find something that they can do to help. And I thought, well, what can we do to help teachers? And then Mary Fisk-Taylor was talking about, oh, good grief. She and Kira were talking about making buttons for teachers. I thought, oh, well, yeah, that's a no-brainer. We can do that. That's no problem at all. So we contacted our local schools. We have 2 different school systems right next to us. we contacted those schools and said, hey, we'll do this for you. And so we set up times to photograph teachers and made them little buttons. And they have been so grateful. Like, it's just, they will tell me, you know, this has made such a difference in my classroom, or they'll send me pictures of their kids at open house, like, you know, like being so excited. She's like, she was so excited to see what I look like. And parents making comments about, this was such a sweet thing to do. You know, thank goodness my kid knows what her teacher looks like. And yeah, so I mean, it's nothing new under the sun. It was super simple to do. But it made a big difference to help some people. It made them feel good.
So just tell people what this button was and its function and the problem it overcame. What exactly was it?
So all of our teachers here are wearing masks. Our kids are back in school part-time. So they're, some of the kids are staying home, but some kids are in school kind of for 2 days a week. Teachers and kids are all masked up. And a lot of kids, especially younger kids, really need to see facial expression to know what is expected of them, to know what a teacher is feeling, to know somebody's disappointed in them or happy or all those kinds of things. So what we did was said, you know, hey teachers, we'll come in, we're gonna take a picture of you just here. We're gonna put it on a button so you can wear that button with your mask and the kids can see what you look like. Especially our grade school, preschool and grade school teachers have been super, super happy to have those. And they feel like it's a resource. So yeah, so that's what we ended up doing.
So tell me then, what did that bring clients into the studio?
Oh yeah, I see what you're saying. Actually, yes. We did a day here where we brought in we said, hey, we've missed you at your school, you can come to the studio between, you know, 9 and noon on Saturday and we'll get you then. So a couple, you know, came in, and there was a mom who teaches, she subs, and then her daughter is a teacher. And they were sitting there waiting for me as I was helping another client, like, you know, we really should get our family pictures done. We haven't done that in a while. And they had a wedding that they were going to have this fall, but it got canceled, moved to next year. And so she's like, can we go ahead and get something on the books? So obviously I'm like, yes, of course. That would be fabulous. Let's do that. So this was they have a large family. So we did this, you know, big, huge socially distanced photo shoot for their families. We haven't done their ordering appointment yet. We're going to do that next week. It'll mean several $1,000s for our studio. So, you know, again, we can't complain. It was some buttons. And we don't know, again, it's not just the short-term game, it's the long-term game. So I don't know who in that group that we helped that's not going, you know, that's going to come back later on and be like, oh yeah, you did this. It was really sweet. I'd love to book a session, because we've had a lot of that happen now that we're kind of on the other side of a lot of those sort of things that we've done during the pandemic. And we have had clients show up for us in huge ways. We had one who contacted me. She's like, look, I don't have a ton of extra money right now. The boys, she has little boys. She's like, I can't do a photo shoot for them this year because they're both just out of control and they hate it. So we'll wait till next year and then force them to do it then. She said, but I want to do something to support you. She said, so I've got like $300. I would like to do, her husband's a physician here and he had to quarantine himself because he was working with COVID patients. So she's like, could we do some photos from our past shoots? And just stuff that we can put up on the wall that doesn't have to be anything nice, but you know, what could we do for $300? And so we took that because she just wanted to come and help. And if, you know, that's not a lot of money, but it was just so sweet that someone who we've worked with for years has no reason to do a photo session this year, but she still wants to support us. So we've had those kinds of things happen that are, you know, I was telling you earlier, humbling, like so incredibly humbling that people want to see us stay in business. That it means a lot. So.
And that comes back to the principle, doesn't it? This idea of, like, you don't do these things as a giver, which you are, to get something in return. But that tends to be the end result, right?
Right. That's exactly right. I think most of what we do is charitable marketing based. Like, I think Yeah, pretty much everything that we do here is somehow linked to charitable marketing. And again, we do that because that's what gives me joy, and that's what fuels me. And you know, so that when I'm at the wedding that I don't want to be at because I'm tired and it's been a long day and I'm 7 hours into it, and I can say to myself, this is going to feed a family for, you know, 6 months. And I can say that to myself and think, okay, I can get through the next hour, you know. So it's as much for me as for anything, but our clients really appreciate it. We have people who book with us specifically because they know that these donations are going to be made. And so, yeah, that stuff, I mean, it's never been intentional of us going, okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to give money away and know that that's going to bring the people in, because that's going to be false and people are going to figure that out super fast. People can tell when that's not really where your heart is. But, you know, this is where our heart is, and this is what we want to do. So, yeah, so it's our business and we get to do what we want with it.
Very good. You're an inspiration to us all. But let's just deep dive then into what's happened then. You know, the clients that are coming in now, is there as many clients as you would normally have this time of year? Or what are you seeing? Tell us what you're seeing.
Much fewer. Our numbers this year, as far as the number of people that are coming to us, it's much, much lower than it's ever been. I actually meant to get that first. I was like, I'm going to go and actually get real numbers for Ronan today. And I totally didn't make it. But yeah, so our numbers are lower than they've been in the past few years.
So just to clarify that, then the number of people coming into the studio is less than this time last year. Have you discovered why that is? Is it
fear of pandemic related? It's because it is just a lot of people aren't getting out. They're still not comfortable being, you know, with somebody without their masks on while I'm taking their pictures. That's really the bulk of it. And we knew that was going to happen, you know, we were home for 2 months. We didn't see any clients. And so that's going to kind of kills the numbers for the year pretty quickly. So, you know, so that happens. But what we've seen instead is that the clients that are coming in are spending significantly more than what our clients were spending last year or the year before. So our sales averages have gone up by several $100s, if not $1,000+ this year, which is super encouraging for, you know, the years to come, right? And we're not just thinking about this year. We're kind of, you know, this year's a wash. But yeah, for the years to come, that's really, really encouraging.
That's amazing, because, you know, because sales is made up by volume of sales by price, and that gives us the total of revenue, right? And there can be an influence. So even though your number of sessions go down, if your price goes up, the end result can be the same.
Exactly. We're actually about, in sales for this year, after taking 2 months off for pandemic, our sales averages our sales themselves, total sales, are over $15,000 higher at this time this year than they were at this point last year, with fewer clients.
Okay, we're gonna have to deep dive in there, Marnie. We're gonna have to deep dive in there. You're not getting away with this one, likely. I know everyone watching wants to know your secret sauce. So, how did you do that, and what's? So
the best that we can see, we have changed our pricing structure a little bit. I started learning a little bit this year about decision fatigue. So decision fatigue is this thing that we all get. It's very, very, I mean, it's just a natural part of who we are. The more decisions we have to make in the course of a day, the more tired our brain gets, basically. And we finally just shut down. We're like, I'm done. This is why no one can ever decide where they want to go for dinner. Like, you know, because by the end of the day, no one wants to make any more decisions. So when we apply that to our businesses, we don't want our clients to have to make any more decisions when we're in the sales room than they have to. So what we had been doing, and it's been working fairly well for us, we had this, what we call a create your own collection system. So there were, 3 different groups, and you pick one item from each group, and then you get a package price is how that worked. We were making them make so many decisions in that they weren't adding things in. They were sticking to, they're getting into that number side of the brain. So they were thinking about what they were spending. We decided to kind of try to kill that. So we started offering set packages. And we made these packages, those set packages are way more expensive, just we're starting prices than this Create a Collection thing was. So I think the lowest package there is like $1,900. People are looking at our menu. Right now we've got the packages and we've got this Create a Collection thing, which is just a huge mess of numbers. They're looking at this menu and they look at this and they go, that's a lot. And they look at this and go, I'll do the package C. It's a no-brainer for them. They make that one decision. They're no longer thinking about numbers. Now they're just thinking about where to plug their images that they love into those products. And I think that that's what's making all the difference for us on that end. I think that's really helping our sales average. That and just making sure that we are, again, controlling the number of decisions that they have to make when they come into the studio. So, yeah.
Interesting. So decision fatigue, I know, it amazes me all the time, and I've done it so much in businesses that I've worked in over the years about, causing our clients to make too many decisions. So the only decision they make is, I'm not buying.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So what you've done then, just to make sure I understand. So what you've done is you've taken, say, an a la carte with a whole of different offerings, and you have that on the side, do you? You have that on the price list, but you've then taken a collection of offerings and put them together in various price bands. So
Exactly.
People look here and go, no, it's easier for me to pick one of these.
Exactly. They're just, it's so much simpler. So yeah, so I think after we get through our fall season, we're chopping off that, the busy side completely. So all they see are these packages, and they can just choose between those 4 things and then they're done. So I'm hoping this continues, but it really seems like this is helping our clients, and they feel better about their purchases because they're not thinking about what's the right thing to order. I get asked that all the time in the sales room, like, well, what do other people usually get? And then it's easy to say, look at these packages. This is what other people usually get. We saw that this is what they were ordering, so we just put them together to make it easy for you. And the minute you hear easy, they're like, okay, good, easy. I like easy, let's do easy. And not really, and they don't care that they're spending more money that way. They're not doing the math anymore. They're just saying, this is simple, let's do simple.
So the other piece that I see there is, okay, so you're making it simple for them, but you also said something very important there. You said that people don't want to be different when it comes to investing or buying something. Most people want to know that other people have done this before. And you just touch on that. I think it's an important thing to think about too, isn't it?
It is. I mean, and it's so easy for us to say when people come in to do their consultation, we start talking about products then. I want them to already have decided what they want before they ever come in to see their images. So when we start talking about then, I will say, yeah, most people, we use that most people all the time. And it used to not be true. We started out saying, oh yeah, most people order an album and a wall print. At that point, nobody was ordering albums. But after, we said most people 3 or 4 times, everybody's buying it. So now, yes, everybody buys an album and a wall print. And folio boxes. We just got our 3XM boxes out there. So I can't wait for more clients to actually get in here to see them so that we can start selling those. So that's really, I think that's it. Most people, that's the key.
Right. So when I see because there's so many different educators and everyone has their own belief as to what's the right system and what works. And I think there's something in all those systems, and they can work in certain scenarios. But one of the arguments I would see against what you're doing is this thing where I see, oh no, you're only going to cap your sale that way.
Yeah. So we make sure that there's always something that's not in there, that there's a little bit more that they could get. And our packages are priced so much, they're priced at points that are higher than our average sale had been. And obviously now our average sale has gone up. And so we're going to keep looking at those. But we make sure that those packages always have room to grow. So we can say, you know, yes, you can get this package. Do you like the basic album that comes with that package, or do you want to add something else to it? So we keep things at a level that if somebody only wants to spend that and they just can't go any higher, then they feel like they've still gotten something good. But if it's somebody who's like, oh, I really do want that nicer, I do want to add the folio box to that instead, like let's upgrade to that. And then they can, you know, do the upgrade. So yeah, we always make sure that there's room in those packages to add more to it. That was originally why we went with that creative collection, because we felt like that was going to help people to add things to it more. But now I think this structure is giving us the same thing, but in a place that's helping them to not have to make so many decisions.
So I think what you're saying to me is you're saying two things. One is, if you get your pricing right of the collections and you position your average price, the collections well above your average price, it's going to work anyway. So you're not worried about capping and saying. Yes. But you also then have an option of upgrades outside that, but you're making the initial decision easy for them, which is also giving you an idea of what they have a budget in their head. And then once you've settled on that, then you still have the upsell opportunity to upgrade to a higher value album or whatever that might be.
Yes, exactly. And it's easy to do that without feeling salesy. Like there's no pressure there. It's just, you know, well, if you like this album, great. If, you know, this is the other option that comes in this other package, you know, so it really is, it takes all that like sales ickiness out of it. For me anyway, I was not a born salesperson. I have other people in my family who are born salespeople, and I really should have them working for me. but I'm learning. And that's one of the things that I feel like I've found a way that it works for me, to feel kind of organic and not pushy. And my clients don't feel like it's pushy. Like they don't feel like they're, you know, again, the used car salesman, right? Who wants to add on the package with the extra fancy tires or whatever, you know, it doesn't feel smarmy.
And that's really important, isn't it? Because you've talked already about the lifetime value of the client, and you want them to come back with your marketing now for years to come. But even with existing clients, you're marketing for them to come back to you.
Exactly. Yes. And I don't want them to feel like I've already, you know, wrung them dry. I will stop clients from ordering too much. I have one client who, we had done, you know, several walls in her house that we knew we needed to do pictures for, and we had them done. And so finally I cut her off. I said, we're done. And she's like, but I still want to order more. I'm like, well, then let's do the album, and the folio box, and we'll do something small, that you can have a bunch of things in, but you don't need anything else on your walls, because in a few years, the kids are going to be older, and then what are you going to do? And that happens a lot. And our clients appreciate the fact that they feel good that I'm actually concerned about them on the long term. Like it's not just a relationship that we have for this one session. This is a relationship that's going to go on for a while, and I'm looking out for your best interests. I don't want to sell you ginormous things for your walls, and then you're going to take it down and put something else up later on. I want to have a plan for where that's going to go when we replace it. And so it makes a difference when our clients feel like we actually give a crap about them, and that we're not just trying to wring every penny we can out of them. So I think that's super, super important too, to let them know that we're here for them. And that if that means that I'm not going to have as big a sale, then so be it. That's totally fine, because I know they're going to come back and we're going to get that sale again. And that's more important to me than, whew, that was expensive and I'm not going back there again. That's too much. You know, we don't want that to be the thing that they're left with.
I think that's a great strategy. You know, I think it's about the worth of the client over time. And yes, you might squeeze an extra few dollars out of them in the one sale, but they will feel like that. They'll feel they were with a used car salesperson, right? Nothing against used car salesperson. Right. It's just right.
Right.
So yeah, interesting. I really like that approach, and that what you mean. It's really, really clever, and it does that. I love your long, medium, and long term mindset because you don't see that very often. You know, it's very. I think if we're going to be stereotypical, they say the Chinese are like that. You know that they do stuff today that they know will have an impact long after they've left this planet. You know, in 200 years' time. So but so I think that's really, really clever. So I love it. So any other nuggets of marketing or pricing or sales tips that you can share
I
with
think,
them?
what else was I gonna throw? If there was anything else to throw out there, I made myself some notes. I was gonna come up here to make sure that I didn't forget anything. I guess there are two things. So we'll say, yeah, two things. One is that I hear a lot of people, especially my home studio people, talk about how hard it is to become known in the community. And that's one of the reasons I hear people say that they feel like they need to have a retail location, is because that's going to give them, somehow that's going to make them more well known in their community. So that's a load of bull. Like, nobody actually is going to drive by your building that much unless you have the premium spot, and then you're paying way too much for it and you're losing lots of money. So more important is to get out and get involved in the community. So get involved in the local chamber of commerce. Get involved in your local schools, however you can. Get involved in, you know, your church or religious organization, those kinds of things, and meet people. We have to get out of our studios in order to actually get in touch with people and to meet people. They need to see us face to face. Social media is great, but social media is so limited and it cannot take the place of in-person contact. So that would be one thing. The other one I would say is to really take care of your clients. We try every year at Valentine's Day. Our studio is kind of built on this love principle. It's kind of that's our thing. And so on Valentine's Day every year, we show our clients love. So we go, this past year we did, there's a local little business, and they do all kinds of cute little gifts and stuff, but I had them make me little potted plants, little succulents, so they'd be easy to take care of. And we did that with some chocolates, and we hand delivered that to our top clients. So I spent my day on Valentine's Day going all over this county, taking gifts to our clients, and taking little extra gifts to the kids. And they love that. They're so grateful. I got so many pictures that day when I didn't see people face to face. I get text messages all day long of, oh my gosh, I love my plant. It's great. Thank you so much. People need to know that we're thinking about them and that we appreciate them. Those are people who come back to us because they know that we care about them. They know that we think about them more than just when they're here in the studio. And that's important to me. I don't want my clients to ever feel like they're just another client. Anytime anybody says something and I'm like, oh gosh, I totally forgot that piece. They're like, oh, well, you just must have a million clients anyway that you have to deal with. No. I should know that. Like, there's no excuse there. So remembering your clients outside of the session, sometime other, know that their kid has been featured in the newspaper. Small town, happens all the time. So, grabbing that and saying, oh my gosh, the article was so good. I know you're so proud. It doesn't take time. I mean, it doesn't take much at all, but it makes a big difference. They really appreciate it. So yeah, give your clients some love.
So there's a couple of things there, and I love the idea. I've just used the word love. That's because you keep using it. So I love the idea of this love and principle. So talk to me about that. Where did that come from? Have you seen, say, a big brand who's got that you say, oh, I love that brand. I love what they're doing there, and I can learn from that and bring it into my business? Or how did that come about? How did that?
Yeah, we've seen other businesses that, are, again, that kind of charitable mindset. And so we kind of started thinking about, how we could incorporate that into our business. And so it came into we donate money with every session that we do to a couple of specific charities, one that's national or international, and then two that are local. And that's, that's important to us. So we talk about spread the love. That's our big thing, spread the love. So that's a piece of it. I'm trying to think what else, just the things about, you know, being able to love others through the, you know, the nonprofits that we work with, and the things that our clients are, it's important to them. If it's important to them, then it's going to be important to me too. So those kind of things. I don't know if I answered the question or not.
There's obviously a love of local community too, because even when you were choosing those gifts, right, it was another small business in your community.
Yeah.
You know, so it's really important to think about these things all the way through, isn't it? That your values, and you can see your values are deeply ingrained in your business, but everything you do, and you're probably doing some of that subconsciously without thinking about it, because you know what those values are.
Right, but some of it's very deliberate. I mean, it's, you know, the choice to use this, you know, little local shop, super deliberate. They are actually clients of another photographer in town, and I know that, but they're a business downtown, and I want to support them. We're trying to be very, you know, local oriented. So when we're trying to partner with our local businesses down here to do all kinds of things. So anytime we can support them or get their name out there, we're there to do that for them. So those decisions are super, super deliberate there. They didn't used to be, but now that we really know kind of what our identity is as a studio and as a brand, that's the kind of stuff that we want to communicate out to people. So we try to be as deliberate as we can. We don't always hit the mark, but as much as we can, we want to try to make sure we communicate it clearly.
I know you gave me a tour of your studio one day, a number of months back. A virtual tour. I wasn't there, unfortunately, but someday I'll make it, I promise. But I remember you mentioned to me that you have a display of some kind near one of the windows of the studio. Do you still have that?
Cool. Yes, it's there. We have it closed down because of the pandemic. So we have a thing we call the window booth at Clagett Photography. And the window booth was my husband's genius little idea that I forced him to do, because he was sure, like, no one's going to do this. But because we're here in this downtown area that we do want to try to help grow, we were trying to figure out what we could do to participate, because we're a super low volume studio. So we're not bringing people down here, you know, by the dozens every day. So he came up with this idea to have it's basically a photo booth that we have out our window. It's lit with LED lights. There's a camera, there's a Canon I think it's a Mark II. We took one of our old cameras. It's a Mark II on a tripod that's set up with all kinds of remote triggers. They put their hand on the glass to trigger it, takes their picture. That's one of Bill's jobs. He edits those and puts them on the window booth at Clagett Photography Facebook page, and people can see their pictures there. And it's crazy. The number of people that I think that has more followers than Clagett Photography does on Facebook. People love it. And again, most of these people, not our clients. Like, those are people who could never afford us, are not interested in the services that we offer, but it's something that we do for the community. It's something we do for downtown. And it does put our name out there too. I mean, it does have that side effect, but that wasn't really the point of it. We're so excited to get it back up and running again. We did some pictures when the quarantine first started and we all got shut down. We took the window booth frame around downtown and took pictures of it in different little locations, talking about how the window booth misses you, and posted that on Facebook. So we're excited for it to get opened back up again.
I love it. So clever. I don't think I've seen that anywhere else, and I've seen a lot of studios. So I think that is really, really clever. So just to recap for people, because most people are probably like me and haven't seen this. So the person can be outside the studio window.
Yes.
When they touch something on the window from the outside of the studio, it triggers the camera in the shot.
It does. Yeah. And
then
yeah.
Bill takes those images, retouches them, puts them on a Facebook page, and people know then to go to that Facebook page to see the image. Is that how that works?
That's exactly it. Yeah, we have little signs up that are all kind of snarky and silly that, you know, tell people where to go and let them know that their picture is going to be taken and it's going to be, you know, put up there. So Yeah, it's been super fun. It really has. It's been great. And people will tell us, and we for the longest time, every time we go outside, somebody would say, I love the window booth. It's the first thing I check when I get up in the morning. They're like, really? Like, yeah, this is our town. And people, again, it's a small town. People really want to know what's happening and want to see who was out and all that kind of stuff. So there you go.
That's
Crazy.
absolutely amazing, Marnie, and I'm delighted. Thank you for sharing that with us. And let me just see, is there any questions? Are there any questions? See, you've been so clear and concise. There's not one question. Guys, that's my fault. I should have said, if you have any questions, do ask them here. And if you've asked any questions on Facebook, I'm sorry, we're not watching Facebook because we're here on our own, just Marnie and me. So,
We'll run back and check. We'll check later and answer them on there.
We will. Marnie, thank you so much for joining us. And you are an inspiration. I can't wait to see your talk at PPA at Imaging. How do people find that? We go to the Imaging website, right?
Right. Yeah, the Imaging website. Just look at the schedule. I'm on Sunday. I think they moved my time. I think I'm in the morning, I think is right now.
Okay.
Something like that.
And do people sign up in advance, or do we just need to?
Yeah, so all you need to do is just go on to the Imaging USA website and get your pass, your all access pass, which is super cheap this year. I don't know if you know that or not. Man, they have reduced the price so much. I think it's like $59, which is amazing. So you go to the Imaging website, sign up, and then you'll have access to all 3 days of classes for the regular, not the pre-con, but the regular conference classes. And then they're also going to make them available to you for I think it's a week or 2 weeks after the conference is over. So that's pretty, amazing. So you'll be able to see them later too if you can't make it on Sunday morning. But come Sunday, so you can chat with me. That will be fun.
Yes, it'd be great. Oh, who's this? Oh, we have something. Marlene says, thanks, Marnie. Good to see you. Roman. Excellent. Good to see you too, Marlene. Right, I think we've covered a rock, Marnie. Thank you so much for joining us. We do appreciate everything you do for the industry, and you're one of the first people to put their hands up when you started the think tank. So it's great to have you back again. And say hello to Bill for us. And hopefully everyone stays healthy there. As we said before we came on, wealthy is not about money; it's about love. We need a certain amount of money, but I love your theme of spread the love and then within your community. So thank you so much, Marnie. We'll see you on Thursday and on the think tank. So we've got Elizabeth Holman joining us on Thursday. So looking forward to that. So stay safe, stay healthy. See you all again soon. Bye for now.